Hello and welcome. Today we're going to try our hand at Star Wars Legion, which is a miniatures war game from Fantasy Flight Games. Now, Star Wars Legion originally came out, I think, sometime during 2018, and the core set that I'm going to review and go through today is the old one from back then. Recently, they came out with a new core set in the time of the Clone Wars, whereas the old one, as you can see, with Darth Vader and Stormtroopers, is set during the Galactic Civil War. So that's the version I'm going to talk about today. Now, it's designed by Alex Daly, which is also on the front page. And it's, as I said, it's a miniature war game. The scale is 35 millimeters or 1:47 as far as I remember. I'd just like to say that I've only just taken my time on Star Wars Legion recently, and it appears as a really thrilling and fun game. You get the feel of Star Wars as Lord Vader is calmly striding across the battlefield, killing in his way, everything in his way. So let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? As you can see, the core set comes in this wonderful box. Now there's some weight to it. And it's sturdy. Let's unwrap it and see what's inside. In a core set, you are supposed to get everything you need to be able to play. And do we get everything we need to be able to play? Yes, I rather think we do. Star Wars Legion presents itself in a good quality of materials, good choices. You get the rules reference, not the comprehensive one that you can download online, which is 50 pages. But a short introduction with the basic rules, key concepts, a learning game, which I've played twice so far and won one, lost one, so seems to be balanced, and some possibilities for expanding. In the rules reference, you get online, you get all the rules that are constantly updated based on FAQs, etc. So it's actually a good balance between printing and adding to the cost, and then being able to have a living, dynamic games rule system. But apart from that, you get all this. Right, so you do get a range ruler. Some of the people I've seen online and Facebook fora or internet fora paint these up spectacular. It's put into 4 ranges, which corresponds to the ranges of the weapons in the various units. It can be separated, which makes it easier to put it back in storage and transport it. Yeah. Also, you get these 3 movement thingies. They could be painted up as well. I've seen some do that really well. On this, you can see that there are lines. 1 here, 2 here, and on the largest 3 elongated dots or lines. That corresponds to the unit's ability to move, which on the unit card is put up here with 1, 2 or 3 red lines corresponding. So that makes it easier to understand. Also, there's a variety of tokens, wound tokens, aim tokens, dodge tokens, and much more. Right, so the movement tool here, as I said, have the 2 dotted line here, and up here as well on the unit card. You can see it corresponds. So that way you can find out which movement tool to use. take Darth Vader, who moves somewhat slower, you can see there's a big difference. Right, the movement tool is easy to assemble and can bend so as to give a good sort of account of how to move the unit. Right, now it is a Fantasy Flight game, and that means obviously that there are going to be a lot of cards. Now, one of the things I had dreaded opening the box was that it was sort of swimming in cards, making it hard to focus for guys like me that are used to wargaming with the rule book, a ruler, a couple of dice, a few miniatures, etc. But actually the cards here do serve a purpose. You have unit cards, like this one for the stormtroopers. See if we can bring it into focus. Right, and you can see there's their wound, threshold, the movement range. The blaster rifle has a range of 1 to 3. Think of the movement tool we talked about earlier. They use a white dice for trying to hit. In close combat, they fight unarmed. And there's a prize up here, and obviously they're part of the Galactic Empire. So every unit has a card like this with a brief description and picture on one side and the game stats on the other side. When they defend, they use a red dice, and if they get a surge, it equals an attack surge, which means a small hit. Much more of that if I one day decide to do a how to play. Also, you get different kind of upgrades. This one, for instance, is an upgrade called Force Push. Again, there's a price here, which means that you can actually build an army and fight like a lot of other war games let you. The different upgrades represent different things. It's everything from a trooper to an ability to gear, making your units more effective, like the targeting scope or the long range comms. Right, another type of card is the order card. Now, the order card is Star Wars Legion's way of trying to figure out who has the initiative. Most war games deal with this either by rolling a dice or having a stat. Other war games like Bold Action use order dice. Star Wars Legion solves this by having a set of order cards for each side. Now, the order card is then chosen in secret, placed on the table and revealed. As you can see on the cards, there's a difference between the amount of dots. This one, the Assault, there are 3 dots in the upper left corner, whereas on the standing orders, there are 4. Now, that means that the lower point of pips, they call it, the lower amount of dots is actually deciding for who gets priority. So the one who puts down the lower number of dots is the one who has priority that round. If both sides choose an equal number, you roll a dice, so that's really easy. You also get a turn tracker like this one, which lets you track which game turn you've gotten to, and that switches hands during the game. Last but not least, we get the dice. Now, this is a very classic Fantasy Flight set of dice. Several shapes and colors. Everyone means something different. Now, the regular 6-sided dice are defensive dice, and the octagonal dice are attack dice. And basically, as I showed you before with the stormtroopers, every unit has a colored dice for its attack. Some have multicolored dice. The white die is definitely the weakest, whereas the red seems to be, as far as I can glean, the most effective dice. Right, so it's fitting that the stormtroopers get white dice. And the same in defense. White is the weakest and red is the most effective defense dice. So now to the most important feature, the miniatures. In this box set, core set, set in the Galactic Civil War, we get everything we need to build a basic army or a starter army for both sides. So we get 2 units of troopers, we get a commander, and we also get some support weapons. Now the rebels get their ATRT Walker in the center of the picture here, and they are commanded by none other than Luke Skywalker. Whereas the Empire is filled up with 2 troops and then speeder bikes, the one that's seen in Return of the Jedi on the first moon of Endor, and of course Lord Vader as their commanding officer. Now already, it's no secret there's a lot of expansions out there. You could expand your commands to have Admiral Veer or Han Solo or Princess Leia, etc. Also, if you look at the troopers, I really must say I find this amazing. I should point out that none of the models are painted or assembled, so it does require some glue, some assembly. The guide is in the rule book, and if you want to paint them up, I'd say most leaguers require painted units, etc. But if you're an experienced wargamer, you know all this. If you're new to the hobby, enjoy it. It's part of learning how to play the game. Also in the set, you get these wonderful barricades, very Star Wars-like in their print. And I've painted them up as best I could. Now, in the unit, you get the 5 basic stormtroopers, or 5 basic rebel players. You've got your ordinary stormtrooper here with a blaster rifle. You've got a commander or an NCO here. And as I showed you before with the upgrade cards, you then get your choice to upgrade your squad with additional heavy weaponry. It's exactly the same for the rebel player, albeit that it'll be other weapons. So if you look over here, you could see that you got the commanding or the NCO, you got 4 basic troopers, and then again you can upgrade with 2 additional heavy weapons troopers. So basically the miniatures are in quite nice detail. It gives you a great possibility to see it, and it actually gives you that Star Wars feel, I think. It doesn't require a lot of paint to make it look really well. Now, as I said before, you can actually upgrade your Star Wars army. You could buy extra units or more of the same units that are in the core set. So you could buy more Stormtrooper units. Or here, I've bought an extra ATRT for the Rebels. Also, some of the more iconic units that are there already. There's, for instance, this Walker that I've primed and made ready to paint. Not quite gotten there yet. You will recognize it from Return of the Jedi, but also the new Hoth, Battle of Hoth version, I think they're appearing. And there's loads of more troopers, heavy weapon troopers, etc. And of course, all of this pales in comparison with all the new unit types come out with the Clone War core set coming up right now. As I said, I've only just started out my career as a Star Wars general, and so far I've played the Rebel side and the Empire side. I've tried to follow the discussions on the World Wide Web. There seems to be some discrepancy as to whether the set is balanced or not. My personal feeling is that it's quite balanced. There's some difficulty in playing the Empire, but there's also some difficulty in playing the Rebels. As you could see in my first battle report, I grossly underestimated Vader's ability to move and misjudged the distance. The game do allow, in several instances, pre-measuring, which makes it a more calculative game, I think. I thoroughly have enjoyed it. The games have taken me about an hour to play, an hour and 20 minutes, I think, tops. But as soon as I start bringing in these units and expand the forces, I think it'll be much more. Also, I enjoy the feeling of having a battlefield look like Endor or perhaps Tatooine or Hoth, some of the more iconic scenes or battle scenes from the movies. Right, so that was Star Wars Legion, core set from 2018, set during the Galactic Civil War. As I said, I'm enthusiastic about it. I think they've nailed it pretty good. There is a 50-page PDF rulebook that you can download for free, which I think they've really thought that through. The reason for the PDF is obviously to keep the price of the core set down. I must say that's the one drawback. The core set is pricey, both the old and the new one. You get it online for much fairer price than in most retailers I've seen. However, I do like supporting retailers, so I usually buy mine there. I hope you like the review, and by all means comment and subscribe. Right, thank you, and see you soon again.